Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Give me your comments below, your thoughts about the Bears and their loss against the Detroit Lions by the score of 23-20 as the Bears now 4-8 on the season. You know who's not going to have a great Thanksgiving is the Chicago Bears. On that flight from Detroit back to Chicago, they're not going to have a great Thanksgiving because the Chicago Bears and their coaching staff do not understand time management. How many times do I have to talk about on ESPN 1000 and with you on social media about how the Bears just don't understand time and score? How is it that on 3rd and 26, the Bears don't call a timeout? It's one thing to the 2nd and 20. Now you're 3rd and 26, and there's not a timeout call to try to get closer so you have an opportunity to tie the ball game with a field goal. I'm not saying the Bears would have won the ball game, but the point is, though, is that for the Bears to have one timeout left and for them not to call a timeout, whether it's Caleb Williams, whether it's the coaching staff, whatever, for it to not happen is ridiculous to me. It just shows you where the Bears are right now because in the biggest moments, they shrink. This is who they are. It starts with the head coach. I'm sure he'll be at the podium saying it starts with me. I should have called a timeout, all this stuff. But the point is, though, is that you're not giving your team a chance. This is a game in which Caleb Williams, 20 for 39, good for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. And the Bears, as usual, started slowly offensively, but then they were able to come back and had an opportunity to at least tie the ball game against a very good Lions team. So when you make mistakes like Matt Eberflus, when you make mistakes like Cole Kmet with 2 huge penalties or Tevin Jenkins, you shoot yourself in the foot, you kick your own ass. It's one thing for the Lions to beat you, but when you beat yourself, that's why the Bears are 4-8. So many mistakes that were made in this game in the second half for the Chicago Bears, but yet, even with the mistakes, even with the drop passes, even with the personal foul penalties, the Bears had an opportunity to win the ball game, and they found a way to once again jag it. Once again, they found a way to not win this ball game. It's amazing that with all the mistakes that were made, especially the defense, they held the Lions to 7 points in the second half. But the point is that they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop big plays by the Lions. But all those negatives for the Bears, and the game is still in the balance. It felt like 45-0 at some point, but it wasn't. It wasn't 45-0. The Bears with an opportunity to win, and then what happens? Matt Eberflus just falls asleep at the switch, and I'm just like, how does that happen? You got one timeout. You call a timeout, you throw a football to the sidelines, and then put yourself in a position to tie the ball game. And Eberflus is just standing there with the time running down with just a dumb look on his face like, oh, I didn't know we had a timeout left. This, my friends, is Chicago Bears football. This is what it is. They did it again. There's going to be a firing. It may not be when you want it, but there's going to be a whole staff that's going to be fired because they have no understanding of clock management, no understanding of how to coach a football team. Imagine the narrative if the Bears would have beat a strong Lions team on Thanksgiving. But once again, they find a way to lose the football game. Give me your thoughts below. Happy Thanksgiving? Question mark. Eberflus will be fired, and that staff's got to be fired for what we saw here. Too many mistakes. Players and coaches, and look what you get. It's crazy, but it happened.